Today we're going to do our first program with our Ev3. In order to do that, the very first thing we need to do before we even get on our iPads and do any programming is we need to get our brick set up here. So in order to turn on our brick, we simply hold the button down in the middle. It'll say starting, and it'll take a few seconds for that to load. Now at the end of class, in order to shut it off, what you need to do is this is actually a button here. You need to push that over and over and over again until you get back to the point where it asks you if you would like to power it down or shut it down. And once we get this loaded, we're going to get this set up with a name. That way we can see it on the iPad. Here we go. This is probably going to be pretty hard for you to see in the video. I will try my very best so that you can see what I'm looking at here. But what we need to do, these are arrows. Up, down, and the middle button is a select. I need you to go over to the settings, which is that double-sided wrench. And then on here, we need to first make sure that Bluetooth is turned on. So there's a checkbox in it. And then we're going to go down, brick name. I'm going to click on brick name. Here we go. And mine's called Alpha. I would like for you to program yours to have some mix of your last name and your partner's last name. So let's say that I was working with someone with the last name Smith. So you can call it Hale Smith, Smith Hale. If you have a long name, you can shorten those names. I would like last names though. So I'm going to go on here. I'm going to program this. I'm just going to delete all of these. And I'm just going to call mine Hale, H-A-L-E. And then I'm going to go to that checkbox here. It's a bigger checkbox. Great. So now my brick name is called Hale. Also, if you could, while we're in here, you see where it says sleep? 5 minutes. If you could also set yours to 5 minutes, if it is not already set to 5 minutes, that would be great. And what sleep does, if there's no command sent to this or nothing, it's not being told to run any programs, it's going to actually shut down in 5 minutes, and that'll help save the battery. Your battery is actually on the bottom here. It's clipped in. I have this charging right now, so I'm not going to unplug it. But these little clips right here will just flip out, so that we don't have to use AA batteries. So here is our brick. Now, in order to go back, or move, so we're in the menu right now, but if we ever wanted to go back, this is our back button. Okay, go back, and this is the screen here where I hit it a couple times. It says, hey, do you want to power off? And I'm going to go over, I'm not going to do it right now because I want you to program, but this is how you're going to turn it off at the end of class. So let's go back. And you see a whole bunch of programs on here. And we don't know what they do because we didn't send these programs on here. But what we're going to do now is we are going to actually connect our iPad to our brick. And then we'll get into our first activity. So I have my brick here. It's turned on. I'll just set it aside. And what I need for you to do now, if you already don't have it, is I need you to download an app from Self-Service. It's called Programmer. Looks like this. There's also an app called Commander. So you want the one that says Programmer. Oh, it just flipped around. Here's the easiest way to find that in Self-Service. So if I click on my Self-Service app, and I actually go down into the categories, and I select STEM, it'll be under here. Whoops, I hit it a second time. Here we go. It'll be under here. So there's Lego Mindstorm Programmer and Commander. We're going to be using Programmer in here. So go ahead and download that if you don't have it already. Pause the video, jump out of the video, and then come on back. Okay, so now, assuming that we have it downloaded, let me do a 4-finger swipe. Here we go. I'm going to click on Programmer. Now, the first time you load it, you might get a box that says, hey, this wants to play with Commander also. You can just ignore that or say no thanks. That's going to jump you into the other app if you have it downloaded. The programs that you create are going to show up across the bottom here. For our first program, what we're going to do is we're actually going to work with motors. Now if I hit New Program, if we look in the very top corner here, it says that our brick is not connected. So what you need to do here, click on that, I hit Connect, and then it's going to start looking for bricks. Now you see there, mine is called Hail, so I know that's me. Select it. It's going to give me another little menu here that's going to pop up. There it is. It says, hey, would you like to allow this to work with Commander? I'm going to hit Ignore. Now, once your brick is connected, you're going to get it's like a little play sign here. That's going to be how you're going to trigger your program to run. If you do not get a play sign, it actually looks like the little brick with the X on it, what you need to do is you need to actually close out of the program and open it up again. Close out of it completely. You just can't just clear it and minimize it. So my way of doing it is if you double touch the back button here, then it'll give you everything, and if you just swipe up, it'll kill those programs. So swipe it up, kill it, and then you can reload it again. And it might already be connected when you do that, and just try it again. If you're still struggling with that, raise your hand, I'll come around and help you out. I'm going to jump back into it because mine is set up. In your first project that you're going to do, I have a few sets of lines taped on the floor. They're 8 tiles away from each other. So what I would like for you to do today to practice driving is to simply start on one side, drive to the other side where you can see like the safety zone, and then I would like for you to turn it around and come back. So you're going to stop right where you started. That is your goal. There's a couple ways that we can do this. First of all, across the bottom here, we see that we don't have anything connected to any of the ports. Motors are plugged into the letters, and sensors are plugged into the numbers. And here's a very easy way to know that. So right now, I'm going to drag one of these motor blocks up. And on here, I see that it says D. If I touch D, I can choose what port I want that motor plugged into. So let's say, just for sake of example, I'm going to have it in port B. Yours can be any port that you would like. So now I have my motor here, and I have my cord, and I'm going to plug it into port B. So on the bottom of your brick, or I should say the back of your brick in this case, I'm going to plug it into port B. Okay? So now that I have my motor plugged in here, I can also have, let's say, another motor. Also interesting. Look at this one. This one right here combines 2 motors. So that's really interesting. So right now I'm going to show you how to, you see how I put these back and kind of trash them by dragging them down. We're going to get this motor to run. And there's a couple ways that we can program this. You see here, now we're in port B, and next to it looks like a pound sign or a hashtag. That's a number sign. And when I touch that, whoops, let's try it again. There it goes. We see that that hashtag means on for number of rotations. So you can drive it by doing number of rotations, and then you can add rotations or decrease rotations. You can also do it by number of seconds or by degrees. So when we hit on seconds, okay, we can click off of it, and then we have a number here. So I want you to drive for, this here is power, this here is how long, and then we can hit play there. So let's do this. We're going to drive this at 75% power for 1 second, and I'm not quite sure how far it's going to go. It's also going to change depending on how big your tires are. So we're going to hit play here, and our motor should rotate or drive at 75% power for 1 second. So I can hit play here, or I can push it here. So let's see it. Great. Now, your motor, if it is not spinning, there's two main reasons. First of all, the motor could be dead. And if the motor's dead, come see me. If you think it's dead, come see me, and I'll plug it into my brick and see if we can get it to rotate. The other reason is because when you built this, pay very close attention. Can you spin your tires? No, don't spin them a lot, because that's not good for the servo, but you should be able to freely spin this motor if the program's not running, like this. Okay? If you can't spin at all, you probably connected this to your base, and therefore it's not going to rotate. So we got to go back and see if we can figure out how to make it so it's not connected. Now when you do the single motor driving, that's what we have here. At the very bottom, we see which has a steering wheel, and I drag that up. Now since you're using this base bot, we can choose which two ports we're driving out of. So port B, port C in this case, I can change it. But what we're going to do is we're telling it to drive forward, okay, at the same speed. So if you want to use this to drive straight, that would probably work. But you're going to run into a little bit of trouble when you get to the end and you have to rotate. So I would start with this to drive straight, and then think about after you do that. So I'm driving straight for 1 second. Let's say that gets me my 8 tiles. It won't, but let's just pretend. Then how can I spin my robot around? Okay, so we're going to do this in straight across. Later, we're going to mess with a little bit of these. These are going to be loops, similar to forever loops or timed loops. And we're going to play with these on another day. So for today, all I'd like for you to do is figure out the code in order to get your robot to drive to the other side of the tiles, spin around, and come back and stop. Once you have that code, take a screenshot, because that's going to be your exit ticket. Good luck.